Kamala was in on it.
Our president is in good shape, in good health, tireless, vibrant, and I have no doubt about the strength of the work that we have done.
But Kamala knew Joe couldn't do the job, so she did it. Look what she got done. A border invasion, runaway inflation, the American dream dead. They created this mess. Kamala owns this failed record. Make America Great Again Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome. So here we are, waiting for. Everybody's been asking who's running the country, who's running the United States of America currently. Well, we're gonna find out. We're gonna hear from him today. So, but no, for real. Benjamin Netanyahu is addressing a joint session of Congress. Don't know why. Don't know what the. I don't know what the. I don't know. But for some reason, he's going to be addressing a joint session of Congress. There's been several individuals that have boycotted the speech altogether. Last night there was some protesting and rioting and things of that nature in DC, and this comes in advance of the president's speech. Tonight, so that's going to happen this evening. I believe 8 p.m. 8 p.m. is the speech tonight. I was looking for. I mean, obviously there was the pro-Palestine activists released maggots and crickets at the hotel in Washington D.C. where Netanyahu and the Israeli delegation is staying. There's some considerable riots and, an insurrection, one might call it, in the Capitol. I believe that was last night, but I can't find the thing. So, I mean, obviously he's a divisive figure. No matter what happens, there's going to be opposition, especially in today's political climate. I am not a huge fan of him, but whatever. So, I was looking for the footage from last night, but I'm not finding it. There we go. So they entered the U.S. Capitol last night. Same old. Not an insurrection. That's just a peaceful protest. So we're just waiting on this. He should speak. I was watching the Director Wray hearing, which was more garbage. Terrible. And they went to recess in the hearing to go listen to him speak. So I'm sure that we're getting close to him speaking. CNN reports that nearly 50 members of Congress will not attend Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's speech on Wednesday. There are 39 House members not attending and 9 named senators.
Come to order.
Listening to Mike Johnson.
The acting President Pro Tem and the United States Senate.
I assume he's going to talk at some point, but some of the notable Democrats that will not be at the Netanyahu speech are the former Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. Kamala Harris will not attend. Senator Elizabeth Warren, Senator Dick Durbin, Senator Coons, Senator Bernie Sanders, Representative Skolowski. I don't even know who the hell that is. AOC will not attend. Jim Clyburn, and tell me if you're shocked by this one, Ilhan Omar will not attend this speech. I was shocked. Netanyahu's fourth address to Congress breaks the tie with Winston Churchill. So he spoke to the United States Congress more than Churchill after today's speech. Trying to see if there's any additional news or any updates. Elon Musk will be attending as an honored guest. He'll be attending the speech. Elon Musk. Muslim Democratic Rep Andre Carson will not attend. It's the latest update from the news side of it. Notable Democrat, you mean known Democrats. They're not notable, just anti-Semitic. Yeah, I mean, they're just, I don't get it, because some of them, I mean, a lot of these people authorize the funding to go there. I thought Bernie Sanders, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought Bernie Sanders was Jewish, and he's not going to attend. Maybe I just assumed that, but I have not seen a Republican that is skipping the meeting. There hasn't been anything published about any of the Republicans skipping the speech. Fencing and barriers have been put up around the White House ahead of the Netanyahu visit. We saw those going up last night. So Kamala Harris is allegedly going to skip the speech, but she's going to meet with him on Thursday independently. So it's supposed to be I'm just trying to read anything else about it. It's allegedly supposed to be a fiery speech that redirects attention to the Middle East, the American attention. Optimism for ceasefire. I don't think he's coming to speak to talk about a ceasefire. Usually come to speak to, re-engage people, get more funds, get more of that type of things. So I would find it hard to believe that he's coming to address a joint session of Congress to announce a ceasefire. That would be kind of a weird way of doing things. Looks like everybody's there, so hopefully it gets started pretty quickly here. They want to light the fuse on the Iran conflict. I think so too. If you listen to Ray's testimony today in the Trump assassination attempts investigation by the FBI, everything was Iran. It seems to be the new Russia. So I think you're probably right to expand the conflict to Iran, which is a bad idea because then that brings in Russia and China. That's never a good idea. Tim Scott. Another thing that the media has been pushing is apparently we should be really terrified because Kamala Harris is the best thing ever, and we're gonna lose by at least 30 million votes. And also that it's a grassroots campaign that she fought her way to the top. I think you changed that for another F word, for one. But secondly, it obviously was not. She was installed. And we know that. But do they? The official doomsday plane is up, just left Omaha, Nebraska, and it is over Iowa City, Iowa right now, headed to the East Coast. That's always fun to watch. Followed by an E6, some tankers, and an E3. It's cute. A lot of
The joint meeting will come to order. The chair appoints as members of the committee on the part of the House to escort His Excellency Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of the State of Israel, into the chamber. The gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Scalise. The gentleman from Minnesota, Mr. Emmer. The gentlewoman from New York, Ms. Stefanik. The gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Reschenthaler. The gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Palmer. The gentleman from Utah, Mr. Moore. The gentlewoman from Michigan, Mrs. McClain. The gentleman from Texas, Mr. McCall. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Jeffries. The gentlewoman from Massachusetts, Ms. Clark. The gentleman from California, Mr. Aguilar. The gentleman from California, Mr. Liu. The gentlewoman from Florida, Ms. Wasserman Schultz. The gentleman from California, Mr. Sherman. The gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Schneider. And the gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Gottheimer.
The acting president pro temp of the Senate, at the direction of that body, appoints the following senators as members of the committee on the part of the Senate to escort His Excellency Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, into the House chamber. The senator from West Virginia, Mr. Manchin. The senator from Arizona, Ms. Sinema. The senator from Pennsylvania, Mr. Fetterman. The senator from Kentucky, Mr. McConnell. The senator from South Dakota, Mr. Thune. The senator from Wyoming, Mr. Barrasso. The senator from West Virginia, Mrs. Capito. The senator from Iowa, Ms. Ernst. The senator from Montana, Mr. Daines. The senator from Iowa, Mr. Grassley. The senator from Idaho, Mr. Risch.
All members of the escort committee will exit the chamber through the lobby doors.
So I assume they're coming in pretty shortly here. No, Greedy, you're right. It is carpet burns, for sure. Among other things. Everybody's in their seat. Looks like we're ready to roll. Genuinely interested to see what he's got to say. That would be nuts, Brian, if that happens. Not saying it's not a possibility. Speaker Johnson gave a warning to any member of Congress who interrupted or protested the speech that they would be arrested, essentially. So I do not agree with that, but there are allegedly additional sergeant-at-arms on the floor, and they're instructed to arrest any disruptor or protester for the speech.
Members of Congress, I have the high. No. Oh.
Mr. Speaker, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps.
Speaking of anti-Israeli protesters are kind of nuts. Has anybody seen Cheese today? Asking for a friend. While we have a second. There it is. There's that's the Doomsday plane left Omaha. And it's soon gonna, I don't know where it's going. The Boeing E-4B, which is also known as the Doomsday plane. Critical communication infrastructure in case of a national emergency. It's a hardened 747. Its common moniker is the Doomsday plane.
Speaker, the Prime Minister of the State of Israel.
No idea, Fast. No idea. Say right now, if Johnson pulls out a Israeli flag and starts draping it over the podium there, then I will personally go on a crusade for his resignation from the speakership. And And maybe we actually get back 8.
Members of Congress, I now have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you His Excellency Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Daisy.
Thank you. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Senator Ben Cardin. Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Senators, members of Congress, distinguished guests. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me the profound honor of addressing this great citadel of democracy for the 4th time. We meet today at a crossroads of history. Our world is in upheaval. In the Middle East, Iran's axis of terror confronts America, Israel, and our Arab friends. This is not a clash of civilizations. It's a clash between barbarism and civilization. It's a clash between those who glorify death and those who sanctify life. For the forces of civilization to triumph, America and Israel must stand together. Because when we stand together, something very simple happens. We win, they lose. And my friends, I came to assure you today of one thing: we will win. Ladies and gentlemen, like December 7th, 1941, and September 11th, 2001, October 7th is a day that will forever live in infamy. It was the Jewish holiday of Simchat Torah. It began as a perfect day, not a cloud in the sky. Thousands of young Israelis were celebrating at an outdoor music festival. And suddenly, at 6:29 a.m., as children were still sleeping soundly in their beds in the towns and kibbutzim next to Gaza, suddenly heaven turned into hell. 3,000 Hamas terrorists stormed into Israel. They butchered 1,200 people from 41 countries, including 39 Americans. Proportionately, compared to our population size, that's like 20 9/11s in one day. And these monsters, they raped women, they beheaded men, they burned babies alive, they killed parents in front of their children, and children in front of their parents. They dragged 255 people, both living and dead, into the dark dungeons of Gaza. Israel has already brought home 135 of these hostages, including 7 who were freed in daring rescue operations. One of those freed hostages, Noor Gamani, is here in the gallery, sitting near my wife, Sarah. On the morning of October 7th, the entire world saw Noah's look of desperation as she was violently abducted to Gaza on the back of a motorcycle. I met Noah's mother, Leora, a few months ago. She was dying of cancer. She said to me, "Prime Minister, I have one final wish. I wish to hug my daughter Noah one last time before I die." 2 months ago, I authorized a breathtaking commando rescue operation. Our special forces, including a heroic officer named Arnon Zmora, who fell in this battle, rescued Noah and 3 other hostages. Noah, I think it's one of the most moving things. When Noah was reunited with her mother, Leora, and her mother's last wish came true. Noah, we're so thrilled to have you with us today. Thank you. Many hostage families are also here with us today, including Eliyahu Bibas. Eliyahu Bibas is the grandfather of those 2 beautiful red-headed boys, the Bibas boys, toddlers. And they were taken hostage with their mother and and Eliyahu's son. The entire family was taken hostage. 2 beautiful red-haired children taken hostage. What monsters. And with us also is Iris Chaim, whose son Yotam bravely escaped Hamas captivity with 2 other Israelis, and tragically they were killed making their way back to our lines. We have with us also the families of American hostages. They're here. The pain these families have endured is beyond words. I met with them again yesterday, and I promised them this. I will not rest until all their loved ones are home, all of them. As we speak, we're actively engaged in intensive efforts to secure their release, and I'm confident that these efforts can succeed. Some of them are taking place right now. I want to thank President Biden for his tireless efforts on behalf of the hostages and for his efforts to the hostage families as well. I thank President Biden for his heartfelt support for Israel after the savage attack on October 7th. He rightly called Hamas sheer evil. He dispatched 2 aircraft carriers to the Middle East to deter a wider war. And he came to Israel to stand with us during our darkest hour, a visit that will never be forgotten. President Biden and I have known each other for over 40 years. I want to thank him for half a century of friendship to Israel and for being, as he says, a proud Zionist. Actually, he says a proud Irish-American Zionist. My friends, for more than 9 months, Israel's soldiers have shown boundless courage. With us today, is Lieutenant Avichai Reuven. Avichai is an officer in the Israeli paratroopers. His family immigrated to Israel from Ethiopia. In the early hours of October 7th, Avichai heard the news of Hamas's bloody rampage. He put on his uniform, grabbed his rifle, but he didn't have a car. So he ran 8 miles to the front lines of Gaza to defend his people. You heard that right. He ran 8 miles, came to the front lines, killed many terrorists, and saved many, many lives. Avichai, we all honor your remarkable heroism. Another Israeli is with us here today, and he's stand up right next to Avichai. This is Master Sergeant Ashraf al-Bakhiri. Ashraf is a Bedouin soldier from the Israeli Muslim community of Raat. On October 7th, Ashraf too killed many terrorists. First, he defended his comrades in the military base, and he then rushed to defend the neighboring communities, including the devastated community of Kibbutz Be'eri. Like Ashraf, the Muslim soldiers of the IDF fought alongside their Jewish, Druze, Christian, and other comrades in arms with tremendous bravery. A third hero, Lieutenant Asa Sofer, is also here with us. Asa fought as an officer in the Tank Corps, and he was wounded in battle. He was wounded in battle while protecting his fellow soldiers from a grenade. He lost his right arm and the vision in his left eye. He's recovering, and incredibly, within a short time, Asa will soon return to active duty as a commander of a tank company. I just learned there's a fourth hero here, Lieutenant Jonathan Ben Chamo, who lost a leg in Gaza and continued to fight. My friends, these are the soldiers of Israel, unbowed, undaunted, unafraid. As the Bible says, Am kilavi yakum. They shall rise like lions. They have risen like lions. The lions of Judah, the lions of Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, the men and women of the IDF come from every corner of Israeli society. Every ethnicity, every color, every creed, left and right, religious and secular, all are imbued with the indomitable spirit of the Maccabees, the legendary Jewish warriors of antiquity. With us today is Yechiel Leiter, the father of one of those Maccabees. Yechiel's father escaped the Holocaust and found refuge in America. As a young man, Yechiel moved to Israel and raised a family of 8 children. He named his eldest son, Moshe, after his late father. Moshe became an exemplary officer in one of our elite commando units. He served with distinction for 2 decades while raising 6 beautiful children of his own. On October 7th, Moshe volunteered to return to combat. 4 weeks later, he was killed when a booby-trapped mine exploded in a tunnel shaft right next to a mosque. At his son's funeral, Yechiel said this: "If the state of Israel had not been established after the Holocaust, the image engraved in our collective memory would have been the photograph of that helpless Jewish boy in the Warsaw Ghetto holding his hands up in the air with Nazi rifles pointed at him. But because of the birth of Israel," Yechiel continued, "because of the courage of soldiers like my son Moshe, the Jewish people are no longer helpless in the face of our enemies." Yechiel, please rise so we can honor your son's sacrifice. And I pledge to you and to all the bereaved families of Israel, some of whom are in this hall today, the sacrifice of your loved ones will not be in vain. It will not be in vain, because for Israel, never again must never be an empty promise. It must always remain a sacred vow. And after October 7th, never again is now. My friends, defeating our brutal enemies requires both courage and clarity. Clarity begins by knowing the difference between good and evil. Yet incredibly, many anti-Israel protesters, many choose to stand with evil. They stand with Hamas. They stand with rapists and murderers. They stand with people who came into the kibbutzim, into a home. The parents hid the children, the two babies, in the attic, in a secret attic. They murdered the families, the parents. They found the secret latch to the hidden attic, and then they murder the babies. These protesters stand with them. They should be ashamed of themselves. They refuse to make the simple distinction between those who target terrorists and those who target civilians, between the democratic state of Israel and the terrorist thugs of Hamas. We recently learned from the National Security Director, U.S. Director of National Intelligence, that Iran is funding and promoting anti-Israel protests in America. They want to disrupt America. So these protesters burn American flags even on the 4th of July. And I wish to salute the fraternity brothers at the University of North Carolina who protected the American flag against these anti-Israel protesters. For all we know, Iran is funding the anti-Israel protests that are going on right now outside this building. Not that many, but they're there, and throughout the city. Well, I have a message for these protesters. When the tyrants of Tehran, who hang gays from cranes and murder women for not covering their hair, are praising, promoting, and funding you, you have officially become Iran's useful idiots. Some of these protesters, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. Some of these protesters hold up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFC. These protesters chant from the river to the sea, but many don't have a clue what river and what sea they're talking about. They not only get an F in geography, they get an F in history. They call Israel a colonialist state. Don't they know that the land of Israel is where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob prayed, where Isaiah and Jeremiah preached, and where David and Solomon ruled? For nearly 4,000 years, the land of Israel has been the homeland of the Jewish people. It's always been our home. It will always be our home. It's not only the campus protesters who get it wrong. It's also the people who run those campuses. 80 years after the Holocaust, the presidents of Harvard, Penn, and I'm ashamed to say my alma mater, MIT, couldn't bring themselves to condemn the calls for the genocide of Jews. You remember what they said? They said, it depends on the context. Well, let me give these befuddled academics a little context. Anti-Semitism is the world's oldest hatred. For centuries, the massacre of Jews was always preceded by wild accusations. We were accused of everything from poisoning wells to spreading plagues, to using the blood of slaughtered children to bake Passover matzahs. These preposterous anti-Semitic lies led to persecution, mass murder, and ultimately to history's worst genocide, the Holocaust. Now, just as malicious lies were leveled for centuries at the Jewish people, malicious lies are now being leveled at the Jewish state. No, don't applaud. Listen. The outrageous slanders that paint Israel as racist and genocidal are meant to delegitimize Israel, to demonize the Jewish state, and to demonize Jews everywhere. And no wonder we've witnessed an appalling rise of anti-Semitism in America and around the world. My friends, whenever and wherever we see the scourge of anti-Semitism, we must unequivocally condemn it and resolutely fight it, without exception. And don't be fooled when the blood libels against the Jewish state come from people who wear fancy silk robes and speak in lofty tones about law and justice. Here's a case in point. The prosecutor of the International Criminal Court has shamefully accused Israel of deliberately starving the people of Gaza. This is utter, complete nonsense. It's a complete fabrication. Israel has enabled more than 40,000 aid trucks to enter Gaza. That's 500,000 tons of food. And that's more than 3,000 calories for every man, woman, and child in Gaza. If there are Palestinians in Gaza who aren't getting enough food, it's not because Israel is blocking it, it's because Hamas is stealing it. So much for that lie, but here's another. The ICC prosecutor accuses Israel of deliberately targeting civilians. What in God's green earth is he talking about? The IDF has dropped millions of flyers, sent millions of text messages, made hundreds of thousands of phone calls to get Palestinian civilians out of harm's way. But at the same time, Hamas does everything in its power to put Palestinian civilians in harm's way. They fire rockets from schools, from hospitals, from mosques. They even shoot their own people when they try to leave the war zone. A senior Hamas official, Fatih Hamad, boasted, listen to this, he boasted that Palestinian women and children excel at being human shields. His words, excel at being human shields. What monstrous evil. For Israel, every civilian death is a tragedy. For Hamas, it's a strategy. They actually want Palestinian civilians to die so that Israel will be smeared in the international media and be pressured to end the war before it's won. This would enable Hamas to survive another day, and as they vowed, to carry out October 7th again and again and again. Well, I want to assure you, no matter what pressure is brought to bear, I will never allow that to happen. The vast majority of Americans have not fallen for this Hamas propaganda. They continue to support Israel. And I want to say thank you, America, and thank you, senators and House members who continue to support us, continue to support Israel, continue to support the truth and see through the lies. But as for the minority that may have fallen for Hamas's cons job, I suggest you listen to Colonel John Spencer. John Spencer is head of urban warfare studies at West Point. He studied every major urban conflict. I was going to say in modern history. He corrected me, no, in history. Israel, he said, has implemented more precautions to prevent civilian harm than any military in history and beyond what international law requires. That's why, despite all the lies you've heard, the war in Gaza has one of the lowest ratios of combatants to non-combatants casualties in the history of urban warfare. And you want to know where it's lowest in Gaza? It's lowest in Rafah. In Rafah. Remember what so many people said? If Israel goes into Rafah, there'll be thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of civilians killed. Well, last week, I went into Rafah. I visited our troops as they finished fighting Hamas's remaining terrorist battalions. I asked the commander there, how many terrorists did you take out in Rafah? He gave me an exact number, 1,203. I asked him, how many civilians were killed? He said, Prime Minister, practically none, with the exception of a single incident where shrapnel from a bomb hit a Hamas weapons depot and unintentionally killed 24 people. The answer is practically none. You want to know why? Because Israel got the civilians out of harm's way, something people said we could never do, but we did it. These heroes here today, the heroic soldiers of Israel, should not be condemned for how they're conducting the war in Gaza. They should be commended for it. I want to thank all of you here today who forcefully opposed the false accusations of the ICC and stood up for the truth. These lies are not only libelous, they're downright dangerous. The ICC is trying to shackle Israel's hands and prevent us from defending ourselves. And if Israel's hands are tied, America is next. And I'll tell you what else is next. The ability of all democracies to fight terrorism will be imperiled. That's what's on the line. So let me assure you, the hands of the Jewish state will never be shackled. Israel will always defend itself. My friends, in the Middle East, Iran is virtually behind all the terrorism, all the turmoil, all the chaos, all the killing. And that should come as no surprise. When he founded the Islamic Republic, Ayatollah Khomeini pledged, "We will export our revolution to the entire world." We will export the Islamic revolution to the entire world. Now ask yourself, which country ultimately stands in the way of Iran's maniacal plans to impose radical Islam on the world? And the answer is clear. It's America, the guardian of Western civilization and the world's greatest power. That's why Iran sees America as its greatest enemy. Last month, we heard a revealing comment, ostensibly about the war in Gaza, but about something else. It came from the foreign minister of Iran's proxy, Hezbollah, and he said this: "This is not a war with Israel. Israel," he said, "is merely a tool. The main war, the real war, is with America." Iran's regime has been fighting America from the moment it came to power. In 1979, it stormed the American embassy. It held scores of Americans hostage for 444 days. Since then, Iran's terrorist proxies have targeted America in the Middle East and beyond. In Beirut, they killed 241 US servicemen. In Africa, they bombed American embassies. In Iraq, they supplied explosives to maim and kill thousands of American soldiers. In America, they actually sent death squads. They sent death squads here to murder a former Secretary of State and a former National Security Advisor. And as we recently learned, they even brazenly threatened to assassinate President Trump. But Iran understands that to truly challenge America, it must first conquer the Middle East. And for this, it uses its many proxies, including the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas. Yet in the heart of the Middle East, standing in Iran's way, is one proud pro-American democracy, my country, the State of Israel. That's why the mobs in Tehran chant death to Israel before they chant death to America. For Iran, Israel is first, America is next. So when Israel fights Hamas, we're fighting Iran. When we fight Hezbollah, we're fighting Iran. When we fight the Houthis, we're fighting Iran. And when we fight Iran, we're fighting the most radical and murderous enemy of the United States of America. And one more thing. When Israel acts to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons that could destroy Israel and threaten every American city, every city that you come from, we're not only protecting ourselves, we're protecting you. My friends, if you remember one thing from the speech, remember this: our enemies are your enemies. Our fight is your fight, and our victory will be your victory. Ladies and gentlemen, that victory is in sight. Israel's defeat of Hamas will be a powerful blow to Iran's axis of terror. Another part of that axis, Hezbollah, attacked Israel on October 8th, a day after the Hamas attack. It has launched thousands of missiles and drones against us. 80,000 of our citizens in northern Israel evacuated their homes, becoming effectively refugees in their own land. We are committed to returning them home. We prefer to achieve this diplomatically. But let me be clear, Israel will do whatever it must do to restore security to our northern border and return our people safely to their homes. Last Friday, a third Iranian proxy, the Houthis, attacked Tel Aviv with a deadly drone. It exploded a few hundred feet from the American consulate, killing one person and injuring 9. On Saturday, I authorized a swift response to that attack. All our enemies should know this. Those who attack Israel will pay a very heavy price. And as we defend ourselves, on all fronts, I know that America has our back. And I thank you for it. All sides of the aisle, thank you. My friends, for decades, America has provided Israel with generous military assistance, and a grateful Israel has provided America with critical intelligence that saved many lives. We've jointly developed some of the most sophisticated weapons on earth. I choose my words carefully. We've jointly developed some of the most sophisticated weapons on earth that help protect both our countries. And we also help keep American boots, we help keep Americans' boots off the ground while protecting our shared interests in the Middle East. I deeply appreciate America's support, including in this current war. But this is an exceptional moment. Fast-tracking U.S. military aid can dramatically expedite an end to the war in Gaza and help prevent a broader war in the Middle East. In World War II, as Britain fought on the front lines of civilization, Winston Churchill appealed to Americans with these famous words: "Give us the tools and we'll finish the job." Today, as Israel fights on the front line of civilization, I too appeal to America. Give us the tools faster and we'll finish the job faster. My dear friends, the war in Gaza could end tomorrow if Hamas surrenders, disarms, and returns all the hostages. But if they don't, Israel will fight until we destroy Hamas's military capabilities, end its rule in Gaza, and bring all our hostages home. That's what total victory means, and we will settle for nothing less. The day after we defeat Hamas, a new Gaza can emerge. My vision for that day is of a demilitarized and de-radicalized Gaza. Israel does not seek to resettle Gaza, but for the foreseeable future, We must retain overriding security control there to prevent the resurgence of terror, to ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel. Gaza should have a civilian administration run by Palestinians who do not seek to destroy Israel. That's not too much to ask. It's a fundamental thing that we have a right to demand and to receive. A new generation of Palestinians must no longer be taught to hate Jews, but rather to live in peace with us. Those twin words, demilitarization and de-radicalization, those two concepts were applied to Germany and Japan after World War II, and that led to decades of peace, prosperity, and security. Following our victory, with the help of regional partners, the demilitarization and de-radicalization of Gaza can also lead to a future of security, prosperity, and peace. That's my vision for Gaza. Now, here's my vision for the broader Middle East. It's also shaped in part by what we saw in the aftermath of World War II. After that war, America forged a security alliance in Europe to counter the growing Soviet threat. Likewise, America and Israel today can forge a security alliance in the Middle East to counter the growing Iranian threat. All countries that are at peace with Israel and all those countries who will make peace with Israel should be invited to join this alliance. We saw a glimpse of that potential alliance on April 14th. Led by the United States, more than half a dozen nations worked alongside Israel to help neutralize hundreds of missiles and drones launched by Iran against us. Thank you, President Biden, for bringing that coalition together. The new alliance I envision would be a natural extension of the groundbreaking Abraham Accords. Those accords saw peace forged between Israel and 4 Arab countries, and they were supported by Republicans and Democrats alike. We could call, I have a name for this new alliance. I think we should call it the Abraham Alliance. I want to thank President Trump for his leadership in brokering the historic Abraham Accords. Like Americans, Israelis were relieved that President Trump emerged safe and sound from that dastardly attack on him, dastardly attack on American democracy. There is no room for political violence in democracies. I also want to thank President Trump for all the things he did for Israel, from recognizing Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights, to confronting Iran's aggression, to recognizing Jerusalem as our capital and moving the American embassy there. That's Jerusalem, our eternal capital, never to be divided again. My dear friends, Democrats and Republicans, despite these times of upheaval, I'm hopeful about the future. I'm hopeful about Israel because my people, the Jewish people, emerged from the depths of hell, from dispossession and genocide. And against all odds, we restored our sovereignty in our ancient homeland. We built a powerful and vibrant democracy, a democracy that pushes the boundaries of innovation for the betterment of all humanity. I'm hopeful about America because I'm hopeful about Americans. I know how much the people of this country have sacrificed to defend freedom. America will continue to be a force for light and good in a dark and dangerous world. For free peoples everywhere, America remains the beacon of liberty its extraordinary founders envisioned back in 1776. Working together, I'm confident that our two nations will vanquish the tyrants and terrorists who threaten us both. As Israel's Prime Minister, I promise you this: no matter how long it takes, no matter how difficult the road ahead, Israel will not relent, Israel will not bend. We will defend our land, we will defend our people, we will fight until we achieve victory. Victory over liberty, rather victory of liberty over tyranny, victory of life over death, victory of good over evil. That's our solemn commitment. And we will continue to work with the United States and our Arab partners to transform a troubled region from a backwater of repression, poverty, and war into a thriving oasis of dignity, prosperity, and peace. In this noble mission, as in many others, Israel will always remain America's indispensable ally. Through thick and thin, in good times and in bad, Israel will always be your loyal friend and your steadfast partner. On behalf of the people of Israel, I came here today to say, thank you, America. Thank you for your support and solidarity. Thank you for standing in Israel, with Israel, in our hour of need. Together we shall defend our common civilization. Together we shall secure a brilliant future for both our nations. May God bless Israel, may God bless America, and may God bless the great alliance between Israel and America forever. Thank you.
I don't. Oh, it's just photo ops. So I still continue to not support either side. I think we need to stand down from the rhetoric, and it unfortunately looks like they're going to ramp it up, and maybe it has something to do with Iran. And I want nothing to do with Iran at all, for any reason. But if we start a war with Iran, for patriots, are you prepared to claim your power of independence from country's crumbling power grid with the Patriot Power Generator 2000X? Or if we attack Iran, over 150,000 Americans trust these powerful solar generators to run things like their fridge, fans, television, CPAP, and more during an emergency. Or you can watch me during that emergency if we still have internet. Get yours today at 4patriots.com and get a free 100-watt solar panel. 4patriots.com. Look at how I threw that one in there. So I don't know. I mean, again, it's just a money grab. Like, we have another leader that comes to address our joint session of Congress to beg for more money. Israel still has a surplus. They still have a budget surplus. We are at, what are we at? $36 trillion deficit. I don't support.
Meeting having been completed, the chair declares the joint meeting of the two houses now dissolved. The House will continue in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
I don't support or
Prime
enjoy.
Minister Netanyahu has just wrapped.
Yeah, we'll just pause that. I don't support or enjoy the fact that we just hand more money to a foreign government. We have problems here. We have a border that is not secure. We have an invasion on our southern border. We don't know who the hell our president is right now. Like, we don't even know who's running the United States. Yet we're just going to ferry more money over to Israel without any checks to fight their war that they've been fighting forever. Forever. Thanks, Digger. So for an erection lasting more than 4 hours, look at a picture of Rashida Tlaib. Gross. I obviously don't support giving any of our hard-earned tax dollars anywhere right now. We have so many problems here at home in the United States, so much to worry about, so much that we need to fix and make changes. and I don't care who our adversaries are, or our, friends or enemy. I don't care. I don't care. There is nobody on this planet but America that I give a damn about right now. Loan don't give anything. Yeah. I want to add some interesting information because I watch this regularly. I have in my life never, and I repeat, never, ever, ever, ever seen this happen. I told you about the Doomsday flight earlier. So it left Omaha. Usually we see it fly around Omaha in kind of this middle region of the world. It is landing at Washington, D.C. We can see if we can find what airport. It looks like it's may land at Dulles. It's still kind of high, so maybe not Dulles. Hard to tell where it's going to land, but it is landing in Washington, D.C. We could tell that by the change in the color. So we can see that its barometric altitude's dropping pretty fast. So it is landing somewhere. Now we're down in somewhere between this 8 and 10,000 feet. Barometrics have it at 10,200 feet approximately. I have never seen this aircraft leave the central part of America and land somewhere. I assume it's going to pick somebody up. That is a significant concern. I have never seen that happen. Usually it just kind of flies around a little bit. So, training for DC-based agents. They wouldn't train with this aircraft. This aircraft is incredibly expensive to operate, and it's one of two. So it operating like this is highly unusual. Highly unusual. Cheese can correct me if I'm wrong, but Merce, this is the E-4B Sentry aircraft. This is commonly referred to as the Doomsday plane. It is the Emergency Operations Air Command Center. And if anything, any kind of emergency happens, like a 9/11, this E-4B becomes the control center for all of the United States military, and it becomes basically the home base for continuity of government. So this is it's crazy. I mean, given everything else that's going on right now, it's odd. It kind of makes me think that with the advent, and this is just purely speculation. Purely speculation. But with Netanyahu here, with an address from the Oval Office tonight from President Biden, and the strong words in Iran, I wonder. I don't know, but I wonder. Where is it landing? We're down to about 7,000 feet. That's weird. And like I said, if Chi's still around, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never seen it fly to DC and land. So Hiroshita to leave is so fucking ugly. They push her face into dough to make gorilla cookies. That was worth going to Rumble for, JK. I promise. This channel does not give specific legal, medical, or general life advice that should be relied upon. I am just some asshole on the internet. Always consult professionals, as your circumstances will be to your specific situation. So purely speculation. It's the Jews from Light Rain. Well, we'll see where this lands, and then I'll probably wrap it up. I haven't seen any chatter. I don't know if you guys heard this. Maybe I shouldn't say. Fuck it. I saw a report. It wasn't correct, but I saw a report. So, I guess major communication systems for the United States government, to include multiple levels of defense, have been hacked and released. So that could be a reason. That's a concerning story, but I haven't seen it reported very widely. But we know it happened, and we know a bunch of materials were released. So, but that's different. That's different. That it's Seward's Landing. So we're at about 5,000 feet in barometric altitude now. Let's see where it's landing. And it's not like a transport aircraft where it's including NASA, but NASA was not the most concerning. Certainly. Still thinking Yellowstone eruption. I haven't seen anything on that either recently. For those of you who don't know, Yellowstone had a significant event. I showed some pictures last night because I was just at Yellowstone about a month ago. Oh, you don't follow anything and you heard about the hacking? I haven't seen it like on the normal channels that I watch. So, maybe I just missed it. There's been so much going on that I have no idea anymore. It's hard to keep up on everything, but I mean, there's some people speculating on the Yellowstone. But yeah, like I said last night, I was just at Yellowstone about a month ago, and walked on that same pathway that's in that video that's been released. So, Yellowstone National Park. Yeah, I mean, I'll say I'm pissed at X people fucking spoiling Deadpool cameos already. Oh, I haven't looked for anything like that because that comes out. That's not tomorrow. It's the next day, right? 26th. Fuck you, Neo. If you're relying on Mighty for life advice, you've already hit rock bottom. Fuck you, Neo. Han Solo dies at the end of Deadpool. Thanks, Neo, for spoiling that for me. Wow, you're just on my shit list today. It comes out tonight? I have to go watch it then. I want to watch it. I'm a fan of the Deadpool series. I hope it doesn't suck. Where the hell are they going? PWI? Avoid Anna's actually dead already? Okay. So I'm not seeing anything, like, there's nothing actionable from anybody talking about Yellowstone or anything like that. I mean, there's a lot of chatter, but nothing specifically. I mean, Yellowstone would be an absolutely devastating event for everyone. That place is huge. Oh, we got a left turn. Where are we going? Are they going to Reagan? This is 90% out of curiosity for me at this point. So I appreciate you guys hanging out and dealing with me. All right, I'm gonna do something. Where did Brumble go? I'm gonna do something while we're waiting. So this is the area in question. This is kind of the area that exploded. This is a picture that I took about a month ago. So this is allegedly the area in question. You can see the pathway in the lower corner there. So those explosive mud pit farts from Yellowstone are nothing. Their maggot chambers are only 30 to 40% full. Not gonna happen there for a million years. I hope you're right, but that was an unusual explosion. I mean, I hope you're right, because that would. Oh, they're going to Joy Base Andrews. Okay. I wasn't sure in the way that they took it in. So likely, if they're going to Andrews Air Force Base or Joint Base Andrews, they're probably picking up the president. Probably picking up the president. Which one? I don't know, but one of them. But that's an unusual experience for the Doomsday plane to be landing in DC. Yeah, Yellowstone is a super volcano. It's pretty intense. They haven't marked out if you haven't been. They haven't marked out so you can tell where the caldera is, and it's just it's huge. I mean, it's massive when you're out in the area. You can see, like, they haven't marked out where the caldera is and where the magma pockets are and stuff like that. So, thank you, Mama Source. If it has your antenna up, then I'm concerned. I don't know how to feel about the Yellowstone thing, but I don't know if you're talking about this or this. This is odd. This is really odd. This is significantly unusual. Especially with all the air movements that we've seen recently. Yeah, that's gonna land at Andrews. Especially with everything else we've seen. I mean, I don't think that one is. Ooh, there's a German. Where'd they leave out of? Oh, Warner Robins. Okay. But I mean, there's some unusual flight patterns up. That's for sure. There's a ton of refuelers. There's a ton of E6, E3s. There's another refueler. Like, there's some kind of concern because, I mean, there's another E6. Another refueler. That's probably another refueler. So there, I mean, there's refuelers up all the way across the country. There's 3 RC-135s. It's just a weird time. It's a weird time, and I'm just telling you, keep your head up, because something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right. Don't know what it is yet, but something doesn't feel right now. So, but yep, we are at Joint Base Andrews, and the tracking's still off, unless they did go around. Wait, they're going around? That's even more fucky. One of the best pilots in the world, and he couldn't put it down? That's weird. Yeah, they just did a go around at Andrews. I'm gonna keep an eye on this because that's weird. Are they climbing or are they just now they're just sitting? All right, I'm gonna wait for like 2 more minutes. So if you want to hang out, then hang out. Because that's even more. It's even more odd. They didn't stop is the only problem. So they didn't drop anybody off because they didn't stop. While we're waiting for them to circle, this is a clip that's going around, and he's drawing a cock. I don't know if you guys have seen this clip yet, but listen closely and tell me if you hear gunman or government.
Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas starts us off from Washington. Good morning, Pierre.
George, good morning. Our audience is about to see the frantic seconds in the moments after the gunman tried to kill former President Trump. It's all caught on police body cam video.
We'll go back. We'll listen again.
Gunman tried to kill. Our audience is about to see the frantic seconds in the moments after the gunman tried to kill former President Trump. To see the frantic seconds in the moments after the gunman tried to kill former.
So people are saying gunman. I heard government. It's up to you guys. Gunman. You have to just hit the middle, don't you? Amazing. What's up, Dance? If Yellowstone went off, it would not only devastate the ability to grow crops for most of America, I think it would probably cause a worldwide market crash too. Yeah, I mean, it would be absolutely devastating. It would be devastating if Yellowstone decided to erupt. It would be a great cause for concern for people across the world. And I sure as hell don't want to do it. Got mint. I heard government. I can be biased at times. That's why I posed the question. Many have told me he says gunman. All right, so we're trying again. Best pilots in the world couldn't put it down the first time. Unless they're DEI hires. 200 feet, 175. report on the ground is they went around because they parked the president's limo on the runway? Well, shit. Could be. Could be. Look up Geology Hub on YouTube. Autistic smart geologist explains what can happen at Yellowstone is not rare or even concerning. Okay. I'll look at it for sure. Looks like Grady's right about the contract. That's an odd looking that is hella bent if it is. And it stopped. So yeah, Doomsday landed on the runway at Andrews. Joint Base Andrews. And apparently if there's reporting for the president's limo, then they're obviously getting the president. So are they landing or picking up the president? I mean, I assume if there's a motorcade at Joint Base Andrews, then they're picking up the president. So, something to keep an eye on. There it is. So Joint Base Andrews, it has landed. It is stopped, and it looks like it's going to pick up the president. So, if there was some kind of 25th Amendment activity going on, I think it would respond to that as well. It's hard telling because we won't know until it's over. So, but who's getting in? Well, allegedly, I mean, I trust what y'all are saying, and if they had to go around because of the president's detail, then I assume the president is getting on. The last time, Brian, was Bush in 9/11. The last time that the E4 had a president on board was 9/11. Bush. So, but just something to look out for. I mean, it's not a normal exercise for the president to board this type of aircraft. So, but with that being said, I'm gonna jump off here. I'm gonna grab some food, and I'll be back about 7:30, 7:45 to cover the president's speech from the Oval Office. But if he's jumping in this plane, it's probably not going to be from the Oval Office. So, I'll keep my eye on it. And if anything breaks, I will certainly be back as soon as possible. Until next time, hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.